What's happening? Andy here. I am joined today by Vice President of Commercial and Industrial Printing Marketing at Rico. We are with Heather Poulin. How are you today, Heather?
I'm good, Andy. Thanks. How are you?
I am awesome. It's great to see you. It's been a little while since we caught up with Rico. Just about a year ago, we were down in, I think it was Las Vegas, actually, the last dealer meeting, right? So things have changed. Obviously, we're not doing these big meetings. It's tough to get in front of everybody. And so now we're doing these interviews, and you were joining us from where? You're in Florida. What part of Florida are you in?
I am. I'm in South Florida, a little south of West Palm Beach.
Okay, so you're actually part of the new way of work anyway, right? Because you're not working at a headquarters. You're running a major division within Rico. How is it working down there, in Florida? First of all, how is Florida doing with the COVID thing? I know you just opened up pretty much completely at this point, or another level up. So you're sort of leading the country in testing the waters. How's everything going with with you, what you're doing down there with the Rico people in Florida, and just in general? How's that all going?
Yeah, I mean, in general, it's good down here. Like you said, we've kind of just entered phase 3. So I think all of us may be holding our breath a little bit, but we're hoping that that everything moves forward, pretty well. And like you said, down here, I've always been remote, but even now it is a little bit different. Going out is a bigger ordeal than it used to be. And, there's just more worry about safety and things like that. But I hope we're beginning to come out of that now, especially as we enter into phase 3, and hopefully everything will follow suit and move forward that way.
Well, we all can't wait for that, and the world is watching you guys right now. Have you traveled at all? Have you been completely locked down, or how's Rico handling that? Have you been able to get out? I know you have a huge facility for your world, right? Is out in Colorado, Boulder, I believe. I've been out there. But even just to Pennsylvania, where your headquarters are, have you been around at all at any of these places? Is everyone still kind of locked in place?
Everyone's still kind of locked in place for the most part. I mean, obviously, we have certain groups and people within Rico that are getting out to service our customers and make sure that they're up and running and that sort of thing. But we're following, really strict safety protocols. So we're all kind of staying put for now, for the most part, with just very limited travel.
So marketing's not really moving around, but obviously the field people have to get out there. So that's been picking up, I think, a little bit more and more. Obviously, we're in your market. It's gonna be almost back to normal, hopefully, very shortly. Heather, you just won a nice recognition from one of our friends, the Canadas. I believe it was the Canadas, the woman executive influencer, right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You are the face of Rico's, commercial industrial printing. So for all that you don't know, it's almost two Ricos, or it used to almost be two Ricos, right? Your group is really the legacy IBM, which then became the IBM Rico relationship, which then eventually became just Rico as you bought them out of that. So we're talking the info prints, the inkjets, the big iron, right? The really big devices that are out there. You took that over how long ago?
I came back to Rico in 2017, but I actually started with Rico. I don't even want to tell you what year I started, but I worked for the Savin branch out of Stamford, Connecticut. So it was nice to kind of come back full circle. And then, like you mentioned, Andy, in the past, it was really kind of, you had the production team and you had the office, the enterprise team. So now we're really seeing more alignment between the two groups. My team handles not only the continuous feed products, but also for production, a lot of the sheet fed products, which there's some crossover into some of the enterprise space there as well as wide format and the software and solution. So it's really becoming more holistic. I know you've spoken with some of my peers in the past. I believe you've spoken with Jen Healy and Creedy, Brian Balo. So we're all tightly locked in together. In fact, I was just talking to Jen Healy today. So we try to coordinate a holistic approach so that, especially for our dealer community, they aren't working with two Ricos. They're working with really one Rico. We've got the same message. We've got the same goal. And we're really, as one company, building those alliances and partnerships with our dealers.
Well, that's become more evident ever since you sort of took the IBM name out of it. The steps, you could see the steps being taken to sort of bring everything together. I am going to give a shout out to your number one, I believe your number one either commercial or production sales rep. I might be getting it wrong, but Alex Carey is your number one rep, I've been told. And just so you know, and everybody watching this video knows, Alex and I started our sales days back about a week apart. And I'm just going to throw it out there that I think Alex, everything Alex does is because I taught him. I'm just going to say Alex doesn't have a video of his own. He's going to have to live with this. So congratulations to my friend Alex. So that is quite an achievement. And the fact that you guys have kept him as long as you have is amazing, because he used to bounce all over the place, but he's been very happy with you guys and clearly very successful with your product line. Back to something you just said, and you were talking about the meeting the dealers. So you just had a big event that used to be an in-person event, right? So it was the Interact event. Was that a dealer event? Was that a customer event? Tell me about that and how that went this year, moving that from the traditional way in person, like we always used to do our conferences, to the virtual way. How'd it go?
So it went really well, actually, and Interact's evolved over the years. So before we officially branded it with a name, it started off only for our continuous feed customers. And then over the past few years, we've broadened it out to include all of Rico's direct customers. And it was primarily a direct event up until this year. So this year, unfortunately, we couldn't do the event in person. So we moved it to online. It wasn't a full event. It was a series of educational webinars because the whole purpose of Interact is we have various tracks that go on at the same time, and customers can choose which track do they want to attend that will best benefit their business. So we have business development topics. Sometimes we have product focused. We have a whole Rico process director user group, and we try to provide hands-on information to our customers that they can bring back and immediately implement to help sustain and grow their business. So we offer these webinars to offer the same educational content, albeit on a smaller scale, obviously. And we opened it up. And what was nice about doing it virtual was multiple people could attend from the same customer. You didn't have to worry about travel expenses or taking people out of the shop. And we actually opened it up even broader to include our Rico dealers, because we are trying to have more of that holistic approach and kind of evolve everything so that it's inclusive of all channels. So we actually had over almost 60 dealers attend those educational tracks, which was huge for us. So we had,
but that 60 dealers, that could have 1, 5, 10 people in a room. So I mean,
Right. So, we've done surveys after each of the webinars. We're going to do an overall survey and hopefully get some feedback, and especially from our dealer partners, because it's the first time they've attended it. We really want to know, was it valuable to them? Because our strategy going forward with Interact, hopefully we'll be able to go live next year, is to not only bring the dealer community there, but allow our dealers to also offer it to their customers. So they can come and learn as well. So we're working with Brian Balo and Jim Caridi and Jen Healy and really kind of developing that overall strategy so that, Interact becomes more holistic and kind of envelops all of Rico's partners and customers.
So how long ago was Interact? Was it within the last week or two? I can't remember.
It was last week.
It was last week. Okay. And then was it, how many days was it? Was it
We did, we did webinars over 3 days. So it was Tuesday through Thursday. And we had webinars that were happening simultaneously, almost like we do at the real event. So when a customer went to register, they would then register for which sessions did they want to attend. So we had industry speakers presenting some, we had Rico subject matter experts presenting others. So it was, over those 3 days, our thought process around it was there are so many virtual events going on now, and they're asking customers to dedicate days of their time. So we wanted to offer it in a flexible format where, our customers could pick which times worked best for them. They could attend, most of them that were going on during the day, which I think we had about 4 per day per track. So over 2 or 3 tracks, you're talking over 20 webinars total. So we wanted to have that flexibility built in and not really kind of ask them to dedicate days and days of their time. We know a lot of them are just reopening now, or they're still trying to, their customers are just reopening and they're trying to pull people back in. So we understand that time is now more valuable than ever and wanted to make sure we were sensitive to that.
So moving it to all virtual like that, what was probably maybe one of your biggest surprises something you didn't expect? And then going forward, do you think you could make a case once, hopefully things get back to regular conferences and in person? Do you think you could make a case for keeping this virtual, or do you think, which do you prefer, just out of curiosity?
So I think for Interact, I prefer the in-person, just because it's all about interaction, and then that happens more naturally in person.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I kind of talked to the team about it, we were batting around some ideas that moving forward, we could offer almost a hybrid model where we do have the in-person event, but there are certain sessions that people can register and log in for virtually. So if we did have customers where they said, hey, last year it was great because my operators could all attend, or my sales staff could all attend, and I didn't have to move them around anywhere, that they can still attend and get the exposure without physically having to be there. So I think we may look at a hybrid approach for next year. I think probably, I don't know that I would say there was one most surprising thing about holding it virtual, because again, we tried to do this educational webinar series versus a full-blown event for the reasons that I kind of stated before. I think that I was a little happily surprised at the amount of interaction virtually. I think people are getting more and more used to interacting that way, where at first it might have seemed a little weird. I think now, to your point earlier, Andy, it's kind of unfortunately becoming the norm. So it is coming more naturally for them to be interactive over these virtual mediums. So that was a nice surprise during these webinars.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are getting much more comfortable with these, and I certainly am. It's funny because I can tell you that before all this started going on, I never did video. I'd have people, and I didn't get a lot of requests for them, but every now and then you'd get someone who, it's funny, I kind of think back, and the people who were trying to do the video, they were all like the more advanced or techie people, and they were all, they wanted to do video, and I was like, I'm not doing a video meeting. Right now, it's like, I wouldn't think, they're better. I mean, I like them better because in an interview, obviously, this is one thing, but even just a conversational meeting with these guys, you're looking at each other, they're not, on their phone, they're not doing something else. Like, you are having a real conversation, and there is, it's a decent substitute for in-person, but I agree. I do miss the face-to-face. I do miss the in-person, although, Rico is saving a lot of money on my bar tab this year. So, your numbers might actually be pretty good. So maybe there's hope for you. Just from that standpoint, right? But let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about your specialty, is production, obviously. That's what you're, charged with. And right now, dealers are looking for opportunities out there, right? I mean, it's tough times. Their customers have changed everything that they're doing. Everything is upside down out there. But there are pockets of opportunity for dealers. And let me hear you talk about, I'd love to hear you talk about, what you see as some of the opportunities in your world, in your realm.
Okay, yeah. So there's a couple of initiatives that we're doing for our dealer partners. One, as I mentioned, we try to align closely with Jen Healy and what she's doing for dealers from a marketing perspective. So on the production side, we leverage all the same platforms that Jennifer uses on the enterprise side. So we provide web assets, email templates, all of those marketing kind of support materials. And then there's someone on my team who's dedicated to marketing for the dealer channel, and he's developed a program and put that in place where we actually have product certification training, and we have a demand generation piece of that program for production. So this is a way that we're helping our dealers kind of identify opportunities and market themselves and the Rico product. So we built that in. They work closely with my team and with their sales reps on, okay, what kind of marketing piece do they want? We have a little library, so a specific audience, a specific product, and then we provide the list for them, or sometimes they have a list they just want us to mail to, and we deploy that whole program for them in an effort to help generate more business and leads coming in, and the leads go directly to our dealer partners. So that's one thing that we're really proud of, that a few of our dealers have taken advantage of, and there's a lot of good buzz around that. They seem to like that resource.
Well, leads are always very welcome, I'm sure, especially when you're talking about a piece of equipment and software and add-ons that probably go well over six figures, and your stuff is the moneymaker. I mean, it generates clicks and it generates a lot of revenue. So but your gear is very, very high end, and it's something that dealers need to evolve into, through those other, I would say, mid to high end light production equipment that you guys also offer. I mean, the VC stuff that comes out of your group is big, right? I mean, there's only a handful of dealers at this point that probably can handle it, but it's a growing list, I'm sure. And so with your support with this, with your training, are you helping them with demos? I mean, it's obviously difficult for customers, for your dealers to bring their customers out to Colorado, I would imagine, to see some of this equipment that's more than likely only available there. How are you helping them with that? How are you helping them, showcase this equipment?
I'm glad that you asked, because our team in Boulder is amazing, and they've actually, from when kind of the whole stay-at-home orders went into place, they put into place a virtual demo system. So they've done a lot of virtual demos for the Boulder CEC. A lot of our dealers have taken advantage of that avenue. Boulder's now opened back up. So some people are coming in for live demos, but we still have that virtual option available. And as I mentioned, a lot of customers, both dealer and direct, have taken advantage of that. It's a nice way, like you were talking about before, Andy, you still see the people, you can see the equipment run, they can see their job come out, they can talk about it, they can ask questions, and it is very interactive. So we put that in place early on to help support our customers with that.
So that's got to be, that I would think has got to be extremely popular, right? Just because your biggest obstacle as a dealer of trying to get somebody, and you alluded to it before, is getting these for in the interact conversation is pulling these customers out of the field. These are busy people, obviously, and when they work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, or even more, to take them out of the field for 2 days of travel and to go see a piece of equipment, or 3 days, 60% of the week, that's asking them to give up a lot. Whereas now you've got a mechanism in place where you can take an hour or two, or even just 3 hours, and show them everything they need to, inside and out, answer all their questions, and accomplish literally everything that you would have accomplished having them travel to your facility without having to take the cost of flying them out there, paying for the dealer, or the dealer would pay for it probably, but somebody was paying for it. And now you've sort of eliminated that. And I'm wondering, is there an uptake in the amount of demonstrations you're doing just because you've got this ability to do them, where you didn't, the reach is much broader now? Are you doing more than you were doing before? Is it the same?
We did more, honestly, in the beginning before we opened up. Now that we've opened up, we're still seeing people utilize that virtual demo platform, but we're seeing some people come in. I think people are hungry to kind of get out. So yeah, I think we're seeing it kind of level off a little bit there, but we are going to continue to offer that, because we do understand, with the production equipment, it's a big investment, and customers want to see it, and they want to see their jobs coming out. They want to talk to subject matter experts. They want to have that executive briefing experience that we provide in Boulder, and this is a way where they can do it from the safety of their own home base.
Well, this isn't just putting a copier in where the copier used to be. This is a whole workflow conversation, and the technology that you're putting in front of them is significantly different than what they probably are using currently to accomplish with their, how they're getting their jobs done. So, it's and how you're handling it is going to be different from company B to C to D, and so it's a very elaborate conversation to have, right? And it's not a 30-day sale. It's a long sale, and there's probably many demonstrations with a customer that goes on. This has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time. You guys have been obviously very busy with the amount of press releases that just came out within the last week, all of which I believe had your name on them, and Jennifer's name, who kindly set this up. What's next for Rico before we wrap up? Where, anything on the horizon that you want us to look forward to? Anything that you want to point to that, you're really excited about coming down the pike? What do you want to leave us with?
So I'm really excited, and this is kind of evolving. It's not new, it's not coming down the pike, but it's something that we've recently been highlighting more with our dealer partners, Rico Business Booster. So that's a business development program that we've had in place for a few years. It's a customer-only site, and it's almost the same thing about helping their businesses remain sustainable and grow and branch out into new territories. So it's not a Rico advertisement site. I mean, you can get product information on there, but it's only really for convenience sake, so you don't have to leave. But there's how-to videos around some of our Fifth Color products. There's product videos just in general, high-level overviews. There's industry white papers. There's industry trends and reports, blogs. There's a bunch of resources for business development up on Rico Business Booster. And I know many of our dealers are already signed up. If they're not already signed up, they should reach out to their Rico sales representative to get signed up. And really, they can just go to ricobusinessbooster.com, and they just need a serial number off of one of the Rico devices they have in their showroom. Put the serial number in, and they'll have access.
That easy. So, that easy, huh? Is that for all, all product categories, or is that just production? How does that?
It's just for production.
Okay, so reps, salespeople, service people, sales managers, executives at the dealers, anyone looking for information on production, detailed information without all the the marketing spin, just the real meat of why they need it, how it works, why it's good for the customer. Rico, say it again, Rico Business Booster.
Yep, ricobusinessbooster.com.
Awesome. Well, Heather, this has been awesome. I appreciate it very much that you took the time to spend your afternoon with me, woman executive influencer. I congratulate you on your recognition. That's very nice, to get that. Thank you very much for this. This was great. I miss seeing you guys. I miss the in-person the meetings. We'll get back there someday, but until then, I'm sure we'll probably wind up doing another one or two of these before we get to that point. And,
yeah, sounds good. It was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This was great. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you too. Talk soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.